Good evening, everyone. Welcome to this episode of Market Pulse. My name is Ajit Mahuli, the founder and mentor at LearnPriceActionTrading.com. Let's take a look at what Nifty has been doing for the last week and is likely to do the coming week. All right, so let's begin with our monthly chart. On the monthly, Nifty has a demand zone starting at around 16,000. So this is quite likely in the coming few weeks or months that we may test this level, which will be a good level for us to go long, because that will be the first demand zone that on the monthly chart that Nifty will be retracing to. We still do not have any supply zones, but there is a possibility of a picture of supply getting created at this, which will probably cap Nifty on the upside. So that's the supply zone that we can see on Nifty. So this is the range that we are looking at on the monthly chart, completely from the all-time high to around 15,400. Also note that below these we have these areas of demand zone as well. So there is a possibility that Nifty could even move lower, but we don't know when, to this demand zone and then probably give a new high. But that's right now far-fetched. But as of now, for December, this is the range that we would be looking at for trading Nifty. Coming back to the weekly chart, on the weekly chart, if you see, that's the area of demand zone where after a good consolidation, Nifty broke out and went up and gave this high. But what has happened now is till now, there was no supply zone on Nifty. Now we have a very good supply zone that has got created at this area on the weekly chart. So that's the weekly supply zone, and this is the weekly demand zone, though there is nothing great achievement of this weekly demand zone on Nifty, but still that could lead a bounce all the way up to this supply zone before we correct further to 16,000. That's quite a possibility. So this is the weekly range for Nifty, starting from about 16,350 all the way to 18,200. On smaller time frame charts, we'll have a lot of supply zones in these areas. So be cautious, don't get into any long positions till we come into this area of demand zone and show some price action on the bullish side on smaller time frames. So right now the bias is bearish. The trend has shifted on the weekly. Coming back to the daily chart, so on the daily we have a lot of supply zone before. That's the daily supply zone before we probably give a new high. That's the next supply zone that we can see on the daily chart. Here is where we have a demand zone. These are multiple level on top of each other demand zones. So, and since the market momentum is quite strong towards the downside, there is a possibility that we may break this, hit this lower demand zone, and then move up. If that happens, that is also going to be good, because in that scenario, our reward to risk will be really high on the long side. So as of now on the daily chart, this is the area of trading range, about 17,600 all the way to 16,500. That's the range we are looking at the daily. Even on the daily, the outlook is bearish. Momentum is strong towards the downside, so avoid going long. You can go up, wait for pullback to smaller time frames and go short on Nifty. So that's the smaller time frame supply zone that we have, and this is the demand zone that starts at around 16,700. So we'll probably see another couple of days of sell-off continuing in the index before we start making a pullback, or at least make an attempt to make a pullback. Now, along with this, if you take a look at India VIX, now India VIX will offer us a lot of more clues. If you take a look at the monthly chart, that's where the India VIX supply is. Now, VIX is negatively correlated with the index. So once the index starts falling, the VIX will start rising up. So there is a supply zone on the monthly chart here. So there is a good chance that the VIX could go all the way to 28, which will probably drive Nifty down to 16,000. So coming back on the weekly chart of VIX, we are right now trading. This is the area of supply on the weekly chart, which is where we probably likely reach tomorrow or day after tomorrow. If the sell-off continues, we will continue moving up to this on the weekly and probably go up all the way to 28. So unless the VIX hits 28, don't get aggressive to go long in the index or any of the index stocks. So that's an area of supply which might hold on the daily chart for wick, so we might go inside this and then start dropping, come back here, and then again rise. That's quite a possibility. So it's a wait and watch for the longs, and for shorts, you can get a little bit aggressive and start looking at going short at every supply zone because the trend is down and the momentum is also strong to the downside. Longs will have to wait for some confirmation in price action before you take aggressive long positions. Hello everyone, welcome to this episode of Market Pulse. My name is Ajit Mahuli, the founder and mentor at learnpriceactiontrading.com. Let's take a look at what Bank Nifty has been doing and is likely to do in the coming weeks. So on the monthly chart, Bank Nifty has been weaker as compared to Nifty, but Nifty has now fallen pretty much more. So we don't still have any supply zone, but this is a strong rejection of price at around 42,000. This we are coming into these areas of demand zone, but these will probably get tested deeply, probably up to 34,000 as we see it on the smaller time frames. The best demand zone for us to look at long positions is at around 31,500, which could be a possibility if we continue moving down with the same kind of momentum that we have been seeing. So multiple demand zones, but it's a wait for going long. Best areas to go long is around 31,600, which is a little bit still far from the current market price on Nifty. No supply zone. On the weekly, if you see, we have a very credible supply zone at this point. So that's the cap that we have on Nifty for the time being. Based on the weekly chart, 39,000 will be a strong ceiling for Nifty, Bank Nifty, and could again push prices down. Once we go beyond this, then again new highs, probably possible targets of 44,000, 45,000. We'll have to wait for that. Now, this is again a congested area, so weak demand area. That's why going down below this will be very easy for Bank Nifty, and probably we could be looking at these areas of demand zone on the weekly chart. So on the weekly, this is possibly the range that we can target. That's one, and this is going to be the second range. So that's a range that we can expect Bank Nifty to do in the next week. So another 2,000 odd point fall can be expected on the Bank Nifty weak areas, but of course it may come here, stop, show us some base candles, and then start turning up. That's when we'll get into some long positions on the Bank Nifty. Coming back to the daily chart, strong downtrend. This is a crucial demand zone. So if we go below this, then the next demand zone that we should be focusing on for Bank Nifty is all the way here. So this becomes a critical demand zone. It's a level on top of a demand zone. So probably that's the area. So below 34,800, we could accelerate towards 34,000, and that's where we probably will wait for some more price action to go long in Bank Nifty, while this is good supply areas, multiple supply areas for Bank Nifty on the daily chart. So you'll have to be cautious about longs. Short longs will be only short-term incomes. These will be critical supply zones. Only once we go beyond these areas, about 39,000, that's when we can think about a trend change. But right now the trend is strong to the downside. So these are going to be our ranges for Bank Nifty as of now. But I'm still not going to advise you to go long here. Longs are purely going to be based on confirmation. But if we get a pullback here from these areas, maybe quick shorts on smaller time frames are valid, and you can take those. So still a bearish outlook for Bank Nifty. Longs will be only on confirmation. Any pullback, like for example, even in these smaller time frames, you can look for some intraday shorts, which can give you 2:1. But otherwise, swing shorts only about 37,500 will be valid. Okay, that's what we have for Bank Nifty. Please go through this disclaimer.